doing this as a webinar format, not as a typical Zoom call. So you will have chances to ask questions. We're super excited to hear from you all and just share all this information. So, excuse me, I think I know everyone on the call. I'm going to real quickly introduce the friendly face that's at the top of my screen, which is Blair McBride. Blair is the President and CEO of Block by Block, our contractor that's going to be launching the program on our behalf. And Blair is actually going to run a lot of the presentation today. I'm going to do a quick intro here, and let me share my screen and get this pulled up. All right, well, I'm hoping, Blair, can you see it?
I can. All
okay.
Good.
I'm hoping everyone else can too. So again, thank you all so much for coming today to learn more about the program. I think you've all had a chance to hear about it, some of you for a couple years. This is something that, as we were in the thick of rebuilding the organization and looking at what we wanted to do and where we needed to go as a downtown and as an organization, we looked to a number of aspirational peer cities to see what they were doing, how they were structured, what they were focused on. And, we looked at a ton, big, mid-sized, small, and even, as large as places like Chicago and New York City. And the ones that we identified that were having great success, all were kind of structured differently, had a different set of priorities, focus areas, programming, funding, you name it. The common thread that we saw was that they all had a very strong focus on a clean and safe initiative. And often what that looked like in most of these communities is a paid ambassador program that is done by contract. There are several, 2 or 3 large vendors that do this across the country. Block by Block is one of them. We've really been kind of spreading the gospel on this for the last couple of years. We had planned to launch this program in 2020. The pandemic changed our priorities. Had a great chance in 2019 and into 2020 to really have some good conversations with the community, with a number of community partners, which we'll thank at the end here, that allowed us to raise the resources to launch this program. So it's been a long time coming. We spent some time, got the request for proposals out last fall, was joined by a committee made up of stakeholders from our leadership network. Some of you are on this call right now, and went through a process to receive those proposals, review them, interview 3 different organizations, and wound up selecting Block by Block. You'll get to hear when the program launches soon, but we've been working the last several months very furiously to get all the details in place. Their team has been working to hire the team that'll be on the street, so we're super excited. I'm just going to hit on a couple of the high-level pieces here and then kind of hand it over to Blair. So many of you have heard us talk about what these programs do, and they have kind of 4 fundamental areas that we're focused on. Cleaning is one of them, hence clean and safe programs and maintenance. For those of you that may be aware, we've had a one longtime maintenance staff member in our downtown who's funded through the special assessment on the mall. So he is limited to the mall, and we have had a great level of maintenance and polish on the mall. I think when you get off the mall and that staff is not available, we kind of don't know what we're missing from how nice downtown could look. I think people are going to be blown away. So the clean piece, this is just the highlights. There's many, many little limitless tasks, as I'm sure Blair can tell us, but they will empty all the trash cans. Those will not be overflowing. That's something that sometimes we battle with. They will power wash throughout the district, kind of as the year goes on. That will happen, one block face at a time. Graffiti removal. I have a acronym here. ACFP is Arcadia Creek Festival Place. We're so excited to be able to have a higher degree of maintenance there. It's one of our key public spaces downtown, and we've just not had the staff or resources to keep up with it the way we'd like to. Weeding, leaf removal, other seasonal projects, maintenance projects as needed. They will work to maintain the Portland Loo. When we start thinking about safe, this is 5 new sets of eyes on the district that are paying attention to what's going on, that are there to connect with public safety if needed and as appropriate, just to kind of be clear about what's happening at any given time. And it, having more people out, I think, serves as a deterrent for a number of things. Another great thing we're excited about is they're going to be able to identify and report maintenance issues. So Blair will talk a little bit more about their smart system, but they have a really cool app that is uses geolocation and can track if we have a street light out, if we have the sidewalk is heaved or something like that, a sign has fallen down. They'll also work on snow removal. I want to be clear about expectations here. This is not snow removal for the district. What this is crosswalks around parking meters, kind of strategic areas where pedestrian movements are being impeded. And we've just not had the staff to get out and do that. And it's great to see that the snow melt is spreading every year further and further. So we're excited, but having some additional hands in the wintertime, I think, is going to really help with making our district more accessible to more people. One of the things that I know Sue from our team is excited about is the support for events and programming public space activations. So the ambassadors will be able to help, weekly when we're doing our Beats on Baits or Workout Wednesdays. If we have some larger events at the festival place, we can, and there are partners that are on the fence, so to speak, as to whether they have the capacity to pull off the event that they want. We can help with logistics and other things, which is going to be a great benefit. And then the other big piece is the welcoming piece. So, they're out every single day. They get to know people. They're very familiar to the folks in the district, whether those are residents, businesses, any other stakeholder, visitors, and they really become the key information resource on the district. They know what's going on because they're in it 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. Well, 7 days a week, but any individual, I would imagine 5. So Blair, I will pass the mic to you figuratively, and rest assured I'll probably interject and interrupt you a few times, but why don't you tell us a little bit about Block by Block and sell this group the way you sold our committee that chose you.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to put my game face on to do that, but I'm excited to talk to you guys today. So Andrew, thanks for having me. Thanks for having us in downtown Kalamazoo. We were super excited to be there, and congratulations to you guys for standing up a program that I know, we work in a lot of places and all across the country. We know it's no small feat sometimes to get an ambassador program into place, because it's one of those things that's kind of like a car. You can spend all day talking about it, thinking about what the concept is, but unless you actually see you see it out there, in action doing its thing, it's hard to really get your head around. But I think you guys will be really excited once what I like to call your own small army hits the ground and starts doing a lot of the things that you guys kind of walk by sometimes, like, oh man, I wish that looked better. That's what the ambassador program is designed to do. So we're excited to be part of what's going on in downtown Kalamazoo. I want to congratulate Andrew and his team on really running a thorough process. He asked a ton of great questions all on the way, and so we're excited to have been selected, and we're looking forward to a really great year and hopefully a lot of years beyond delivering a great ambassador program. So a little bit about Block by Block. We do downtown ambassadors. That's our specialty. So we're not a janitorial company that dabbles in doing some downtown work, or a property maintenance company or a security company. I will tell you, we were born from a private security company that was actually born from a event management company. So one of the things that we learned early on is the friendliness of ambassadors matter. And so that actually comes from our event management business, which started out way back in 1930 and working in places like the Kentucky Derby, Churchill Downs, all those good things. So downtown ambassadors should be friendly, and that's what we're setting out to hire for the KDP program. So when we talk about downtown ambassadors, it's the cleaning ambassadors, the hospitality/safety ambassadors. That's one of the functions we look at as hospitality/safety is, how do we make people feel safer by just making sure that we're engaging with people? So we think those two functions go hand in hand. And then the other thing is, this is moving beyond clean and safe. When we started doing this 25 years ago, it really was about picking up litter, removing graffiti, saying hello to people, doing the business contacts. But lo and behold, like so many other things, that you move past the cleaning and safety, and then you're doing landscaping, which we do in a ton of places. We're doing a ton of placemaking activations. Just as Andrew talked about helping Sue, of just having their own small army that can go out and just help bring an event to life and roll up sleeves and have that extra set of hands. That's what we're excited to do. So, and then talking to our most vulnerable members of our population that are on our streets, those neighbors, and how do we interact with them? How do we help them get into a better situation by being connectors, by being knowledgeable connectors of the social service system? So those are all the things that are examples of moving beyond clean and safe that we've just learned how to do over the past 25 years. We're excited to bring that expertise to Kalamazoo. So as I said, this is different than traditional janitorial and safety. So, but it has a ton of benefits for almost every different stakeholder group in any downtown. One is visitors, just to make sure their experience is better. We often say that we like to personify a great place and add a face to it. So, and one of the things we look at too on the safety side is, if somebody is panhandled by somebody, but by a panhandler downtown, but all of a sudden they have a great experience or interaction with a friendly, engaging ambassador, we hope those experiences offset and they walk away remembering something really positive about being in downtown Kalamazoo. Businesses, hopefully by improving cleaning and safety, and obviously really it's the price of admission into coming to downtowns anymore is allowing us to be competitive with other parts of the city that may be emerging, the private lifestyle centers, but hopefully just it's a good traffic generator and helps people and boost their revenues and property values. So that's really important. But then residents, we also want to be sort of that good neighbor to the residents that gives them access to the services and also explains to them, what's going on in downtown. Just makes the environment more welcoming and hopefully reinforces it as a nice amenity to those that are looking to come downtown to live. That, downtown's a great place by seeing those friendly neighbor ambassadors out there that are, being the watchful presence at the street level. And again, I think overall, when all of those four things above happen, then the value of properties becomes more valuable and it creates more investment in the district. So we're excited to be benefiting all of those different user groups. So here's some of the basic questions that I think you guys are probably interested in. When's the program launch? We are kicking off May 17th, which is right around the corner. We have a team on the ground in Kalamazoo that is doing everything from buying equipment to readying our space, to putting Mega Brute stickers on the equipment, but most importantly, they're hiring a team. So they're working actively on hiring an operations manager along with the supporting cast members that are the frontline ambassadors. So it's a big chore. They're all paid positions, full-time. Well, most of those are full-time. We'll have a small contingent of part-timers probably that make up the full cadre of team members, but they're all receiving benefits. I'm a 25-year veteran of this company. I'm still on my high school job, as I like to tell people. So it's important for us to also keep making advancement opportunities for people. Another person that you guys will meet along the way, Brian Perkins, who's our regional vice president, who's part of the transition implementation team there in Kalamazoo. He started out as a cleaning ambassador, worked for us, ran one of our largest programs in Cleveland. So advancing people and helping people on their career path is a big thing for us. And we're very, very big on culture. I could talk for hours about that, but I'm not, because we're going to keep moving on.
Blair, I'm going to interject just for a minute on kind of that path up that I've seen through Block by Block. So I'm serving, I've had a chance to participate in a leadership fellowship through the International Downtown Association. And one of my peers in that cohort is Melvin Elledge, who started working for Block by Block and has since, and was running the program in Grand Rapids and has since been pulled in and is the operations manager for Downtown Grand Rapids Inc. So, you have different lateral and upward movements that are possible. And, we had hoped to hire a director of public spaces last year, and based on the uncertainty around budgets, we didn't do that. But this team will fill some of that, but it could be lead to something in the future on that front. So
we've learned early on, Andrew, we have to be very good to our operations managers because we now work for a lot of them. They're our customers in a number of places. So Melvin's not the only example.
I'll let me grab the mic on this one real quick. So I'm going to walk through this map very briefly. So we thought long and hard about what was feasible, where we had the most traffic, and where we could have the biggest impact. So what you'll see there, the blue shaded area, and you can't quite see it. It does extend a little bit further down Stadium Drive here, all the way to, oh my goodness, I'm forgetting the street that Western's baseball field is on. But it does extend down Stadium to there. That is the full Downtown Economic Growth Authority district. So Within the green area, which is our primary service area, there are 96 block faces. So, every block has 4 faces. Well, most have 4 faces if they're not backing up to something. Oliver Street, someone just texted me. Thank you, Grant Fletcher, for texting me. It's Oliver Street. So 96 block faces within district. Every single day, those will be cleaned and checked. The trash is emptied on those, and we'll have a thorough once over. In the rest of the district, the ambassadors will be available for one-off calls. If there is a call for service from a business owner, property owner, resident, someone else that sees something that needs attention, that needs cleaning up, they're available. They're on call. They can do that. They will do projects in that area that are assigned and identified as well throughout the year. Additionally, I think there might be a few trash receptacles that are outside of the service area, outside of the green. We are going to be doing a little bit, or block by block, we'll be doing some work on behalf of the city at the node at Vine and Westnedge and up on Riverview. So they've taken over there, but we're super excited. So that is where we see the bulk of the pedestrian traffic within our downtown. The borders, for those of you that are not able to see this, Kalamazoo Avenue on the north end, and that does include some service in and around the transportation center. There's a little bump sticking up there. Park Street is the western border of the daily service area, primary service area. Lovell on the south end, up Portage, and then back over down South Street and up Pitcher, and then over to capture kind of the restaurant node there around Food Dance and Old Dog and Water Street. So that is our area. We're super excited, and it's going to be night and day in just a few short weeks there.
So kind of picking back up, as far as some of the other frequently asked questions that I'm sure you guys are wondering about, is when will the ambassadors be on duty? Sunday and Monday will be out 7 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Tuesday through Thursday, we're going to begin extending the hours, which we'll see is sort of a common theme as we move through the week, as more people are sort of venturing out later activity. So Tuesday through Thursday, we'll be out until 7:30 p.m. Again, still starting at 7 a.m. Friday and Saturday, 7 a.m. until 11 p.m. And we know a lot of folks are coming out, taking part in, dining, bars, restaurants, evening activities. I think what you'll see is we pick up a strong, the whole program is designed to be whatever it takes ambassador function all day long, but you'll probably see that we come out of the gate at 7 a.m. with a heavier emphasis on cleaning. And as the day morphs on, we pick up more into safety patrols, more of a safety focus. So how many ambassadors are going to be on the team? There are going to be 4 full-time ambassadors and a full-time manager in the field. That's a really important thing, that the manager is a working manager. A program of this size doesn't support a desk jockey. So we want somebody, though, that is good at strategy. And that's something that is part of the value I think that we bring, is how we cultivate and take operations managers that are good at management and teach them really placemaking, cleaning, safety, et cetera, so they can redeploy the team based on priority, so that they know how to really move their chess pieces around the board to get the maximum benefit every day. Having a way for you guys to be accessible to, or the ambassadors be accessible to you guys for needs and services. And, we can't be everywhere. It's a 5-person team. You guys probably will see something before they see it. So we want to make sure it's a great way for you guys to get in touch with the team. You guys may want to take that down. We'll have a dedicated phone that is answered anytime that there's an ambassador on duty during those hours that we previously talked about. That number is 269-568-5402, or ambassadors at Downtown Kalamazoo. That will also route to that phone so that we can triage anything that might come through the course of the day that you guys might see.
I don't have it in the presentation here, and there won't always be, they won't be in the office typically, but the program, for those of you that are wondering, will operate out of ramp 3, which is the Kalamazoo Mall ramp. So right as you pull in off Portage Street, you go up a little bit, and there's a few parking spots and an office there and storage area. So they'll be right behind our office, and very accessible to us. And we're super excited to have them nearby too.
Yep.
Oops, sorry. Yeah, Blair, I did have this in here from your presentation just to kind of show some of the places you work. I know you wanted to highlight some of those nearby communities where I've interacted with your team too. So obviously you guys are
Yeah.
all over the country, and a couple where go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Andrew, I mean, this ties in really well to looking at the district size, because I think that's one of the important reasons. You hire somebody with expertise in this field, because, we're in 120 almost places across the country where we see all these pins. Our largest program is downtown Minneapolis, and those guys are spending about $4.5 million on safety and cleaning and social service outreach and dispatch services, all throughout the year. Some of our smallest programs are like Columbia, Missouri, Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, where we have 2 to 3 ambassadors out. So again, it takes a level of expertise and understanding to figure out, how do you best utilize those ambassadors and get the best bang for the buck every day. So I think it's important to understand just the size, just the varying scope of the programs we service. Because I can tell you, in all of those 120 programs, I don't have any one where we ever look up at, 1:30 in the afternoon and say, wow, we're done. There's always the next thing to do. So it's a matter of figuring out how do we best utilize those resources to do that next thing. So I think in the next slide, we'll probably talk about a couple of places in the neighborhood, right?
Yeah, places that people on this call are probably familiar, or the next time they're there, they'll probably pay attention. So,
yep. Yeah, and so 2 examples of this, a little further away is in downtown Detroit. We've been working in Detroit now for, I think, almost 6 years. But we work the program for the Downtown Detroit Partnership. It's a 70-person ambassador team during the peak season, and they're doing obviously the basics: cleaning, safety, hospitality. They do a ton of placemaking, a ton of park activation with Campus Martius, Beacon Park, just a number of those that, as these programs have proven successful, they kind of just find a way of picking up more and more work that people want them to do more, because, they're very visible, they're very effective. The other thing that we're really proud of in Detroit is we've got a strong second chance program through a relationship with the Goodwill. So it's great opportunities for folks that are trying to build a resume, that are trying to come from one place to reestablish themselves and kind of get back on their feet. So this has been a great program to allow people to have sort of that social element and get back on their feet. So we're really excited about the relationship we have with the Goodwill.
Blair, I'm going to chime in just on that piece. So, aspirationally, that's something we're really hoping to do. So we know that, not just that program. I had a chance, Jennifer and I had a chance to visit a program in Washington, D.C. called Ready, Willing, and Working, which is operated by the Capitol Hill Business Improvement District, which is an organization much like ours that has their own ambassador program with wraparound services. And they employ people that are returning populations from prison to give them job skills, help them stay off the street, not have recidivism. And it's been so successful that there's actually, 6 or 7 other business improvement districts within the District of Columbia that now contract with them. So, we're kind of looking at what those best practice models are as we get into year 2, 3, 4, and beyond as well. So It's great to know that we've got a partner with some familiarity there.
And a ton of willingness to do that. We see the social value in these programs. A little closer to home, we work the program in downtown Grand Rapids. We started there, I think 2011 with the safety program. They were using a traditional janitorial vendor for cleaning services. And after demonstrating our value over the course of 3 to 4 years, it's kind of a logical move to add on the cleaning and safety piece, to merge that into one program with a unified management structure. And they picked up a lot of efficiency. So they do a ton of placemaking in Grand Rapids. You can see from the picture, the ambassadors have really become sort of a well-known entity in downtown, sort of the rock stars of downtown in a lot of ways. And we're excited to sort of replicate that in downtown Kalamazoo.
Ah, yes. These are some of the pictures that you took when you were here visiting.
Yeah. And so I don't think some of these come as a surprise to folks. You guys have probably seen this, and this is what we call the low-hanging fruit, that when we come out of the gate, one of the first things that we want to do is really a blitz of downtown, focusing on the small things that we can make quick improvements in. But just to give you an idea, obviously, when you say litter, people typically think about blowing trash and cups and those type of things, but litter comes in a lot of form. A lot of the things that when I was walking around downtown Kalamazoo, I saw was, to us, litter is like the orphaned traffic barrels and signs that ended up laying over. And, the construction team got done. They've been gone for 3 weeks, but they left stuff behind. And so we can be that entity that captures that, holds it. In case somebody's looking for it, we'll reunite them with their owners. But oftentimes we become the bearer of a lot of that orphan traffic cones and barrels and signage and wayfinding signage. Saw a lot of weeds, just a lot of project work that can be done in tree pits that I think we're excited to tackle. Obviously, I was here during the fall based on this being early in the process, and just the attention we'll be able to give this fall to leaves, I think will make an immense difference to you guys. So we're excited to deliver that on the cleaning side. So just a few examples of things from our lens. So when you say cleaning, I think people automatically kind of get what cleaning is. I think sometimes safety becomes a little more ambiguous. So the things that we try to explain that the safety program will do is, one, most importantly, it's got to be highly visible. We don't want people stopping in, spending any more time in businesses than they have to. We got to sort of keep moving. So it's important to make sure the program stays visible. But part of it is public engagement. That it's one thing to walk by a member of the public and everybody's got their head down, everybody's got their head in their phone. We know how it is in today's age, but it's important to make sure our safety ambassadors are saying hello as they walk by people or they're in close proximity, because it's that hello and that greeting that makes people recognize the safety ambassador and thereby recognize KDP. So it's really branding and awareness and recognition of KDP through the ambassador program, through that public engagement of just a basic greeting. So that'll be important to what we do. Business checks, we got to have a relationship with the merchants to keep information sharing. I'll talk about the technology platform that'll support that here in a second. And then we do safety escort, so that if somebody's working late, needs a walk to their car, we're more than happy to provide that service. And that can be done by calling the field dispatch number as well. And then engagement and assistance to the street population. Again, we've got a lot of neighbors that are living on the street. We do a lot of welfare checks. We do a lot of offering of services. And, when somebody finds that right day that they're ready to not be on the street, we want to have that connection with them and, know who's the right place to suggest that they get into, even if that means we need to walk them to services or make a big deal, make a call on their behalf. That's really what we're trying to do, is trying to be extremely compassionate to the vulnerable population on the sidewalk. So that's part of what the safety ambassadors do. And then you've heard us make a couple of references to the SMART system, and this is what the SMART system is. It's essentially, in doing this for 20 years, we went from pencil and paper and said, we do this in sort of an archaic way. How do we, it was 20 years ago, how do we start getting smarter, pardon the pun, about our stats? How do we, when we do something, how do we know where that's actually taking place, when that happened, who performed that task? And so the SMART system has allowed us to do that. It's allowed us to gather all the data points about the services that we offer so that we can provide that to our customers so that they can tell their own story about how they're making a difference at the street level. That's only half of the SMART system. The other half of the SMART system is really important to us, and that allows us to have a lot of accountability for our team that are working out in the field. And so part of that is that we walk past all of the movements of the ambassadors, so that we know, one, that they're on point, doing what they're supposed to, but also allows us to, in a very visible way, have the manager look at the district and say, wow, we should have spent a little more time over in the northwest quadrant of the district yesterday, and then we can go back and make program adjustments. But the accountability piece is there. We document all the supervisor observations just for accountability. And then there's a ton of features, just I think that we've all become accustomed to, being able to send ourselves reports, set up reports that we really like, and make sure they're auto-generated and emailed to us so that we're not out always setting up new filters for things. We can then do even things such as break down specific intersections of the district to see how many times have we walked through that particular intersection. How many times have we delivered a service in that intersection? So we've even added a street fixture module so that we can even start tracking issues particular to specific street fixtures. So if there's the burned out lights that will be reported through the maintenance reporting side of this, and there's an incident reporting side where we can document anything out of the ordinary. But, going back to the street fixtures, if there's, one street fixture that's more problematic than another, we'll be able to tell that. And we'll be able to document street assets that are important to KDP too. So we refer to the SMART system as sort of like having a hammer. When you buy a hammer, it doesn't come with any instructions because it can do so much stuff. It's a matter of making sure that our team is trained and our managers and our customers are trained in what the capabilities of the SMART system are so that we can help our customers best utilize it.
I'll add to that first bullet point. one of the initiatives that our team's going to be doing later in the year is beginning an annual downtown perception survey that will go out, beyond just our stakeholder group, but it's really meant to go to the entire community and even beyond that, so that we can have a baseline of what those perceptions are downtown and be able to track that we're moving them in the right way, and what parts of downtown there are concerns or are not, or people like going to, are visiting frequently, why they may or may not be. So we're really excited to get more scientific and data-based in all of this, and this will all also sync up nicely with the work we're looking to do very soon with pedestrian counters as well. So I'm installing that technology. There's a little more on the program hours. We're getting a fancy truck with our brand on it, so pretty excited about that. A number of other pieces of equipment, bike-based or tricycle-based power washer that'll move throughout the district. The information cart that'll be able to be deployed at events. I don't think that's actually the final version of the uniform. I think we got a slightly different one, if I'm not mistaken, with full color. But nonetheless, the team will be very visibly identified. We're very excited about that piece. Is that the last? Oh, this is not the last. So certainly really want to give a huge thanks to all of these supporters. Consumers Energy Foundation, the City of Kalamazoo through a couple different channels, Irving S. Gilmore Foundation, Jim Gilmore Jr. Foundation, Harold Grace Upjohn Foundation, Discover Kalamazoo, and Metro Transit. So we are funded through this first year, where our plan is to fund this through philanthropy for 3 years, and then really open up a discussion about what's a sustainable way to fund all this. So Allison, if you will open us up for questions, that would be great. I do see one in the chat box from Jim Escamilla just asking for that number again, and that is 269-568-5402. And they will be live May 17th. So, and we'll be doing lots of visits as well. That's kind of one thing we didn't speak specifically to, but even in the lead up to the launch, we're going to start taking the team around and introducing them to all the various stakeholders within our downtown. So, Allison, I'm going to give you the figurative mic on opening up for questions.
If anyone has any questions, there is a Q&A box down at the bottom of the screen there. And we'll be able to see all of those.
Well, Andrew, might have been that thorough.
There was one question that's coming in now for suggestions. Can we send to the email listed if there are suggestions for the program?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm not seeing that. I think, Allison, you might be the only one that's seeing the question box as it comes in.
Sure.
What other questions are there out there? I see 33 of you are still on the call, so glued to your seats.
Yeah, feel free to pop that into the Q&A box down there, or message in the chat as well. That is an option.
You might have to hit the more button on the bottom of your tab. I didn't see it till I did that. So if anyone's looking.
Hey, Andrew, if it's okay, while we're waiting for a few questions to come in, if I can make a plug for if anybody knows someone that this would be a great job for, from an ambassador standpoint. I mean, when I think of, some of our best ambassadors across the country, I think about people that are a lot of times retirees that just like to get outside. They like to contribute. We're not doing back-breaking work. We'll have a few harder jobs that are harder than others. But if anybody knows of anyone that, an ambassador job would be great for, we found it, again, to be a great job for retirees and people that are still in the working field that, please forward an email to Andrew and he'll get that over to us. Okay.
I will, I'll get those links to the postings out to everyone as well. So I know that I've been talking with Brian from your team, Blair, and they've got some great candidates that are moving through the process right now, but still have some opportunities. So
the more choice, the better. And blockbyblock.com also has links to information about the ambassador jobs and how somebody can submit.
So I'm seeing a couple other questions here now. Kelsey asked, if this information has been shared publicly, and if not, when it will be. This has not been shared publicly yet. Our plan is to, we really wanted to get our leadership network familiar with the program, help them understand it, so you all can be advocates for it. We do have a whole communications plan that will roll out, I would say a week or so before program launch. So probably second week of May, we'll have press releases, have this out on social. We have some handouts that we can, people can print if they want, that are kind of a great little, I think it's a 4-pager. So, and also we'll have the ambassadors themselves will have cards that, I can't think of what it's called, but it's kind of a how can we help card that they'll be giving out to stakeholders in the district too.
Yeah, we call it a who we are card, and that also gives you the times they're on the street and also the phone number of how to access the team.
Good. So have a few more. I see comments from Nelson and Yolanda, just welcoming Block by Block to downtown and those things. They're very excited, which is really good to hear. There is a comment question from Dorothy Robnett as well. Would love to hear more about just the diversity in employment, and just to get more welcoming faces to all different types of people. So if put any thought to that.
So that is something we communicated as a high priority to Blair and his team as they go through their hiring process. So that, somewhat is going to depend on who applies, but we've definitely encouraged that, and do hope that we have, it is our intent to have a team that is representative of the community too. And as we said, really be an opportunity to move up and be, a path to something better through these employment opportunities. So Brooke had asked if the public will be able to provide feedback on the program at that email. They can do it there. They can also do it to our team email as well. So certainly we're happy to have that. And I see a question about the email listed. Until the program launches, if you can use team, TEAM, at downtownkalamazoo.org. We've got that access to that new email being set up. It's not live yet, so it will be when the program launches. But if anyone has suggestions, questions, send it to team@downtownkalamazoo.org. So Hayward asked, you mentioned that you work with programs to help people get jobs, such as people who may have criminal records. You also work with the homeless shelters. So I will say, from our standpoint, we are very supportive of those second chances. So we made it clear that in the request for proposals that the contractor would have to follow the city of Kalamazoo's policy in hiring, which is not an automatic disqualification for previous convictions. So Blair, maybe from your side, tell us a little bit more about what you've done with homeless shelters and other, providers like that.
Yeah, and Andrew, before we even get there, I'll tell you that we've taken some immense strides to make sure that, we're following federal guidelines on hiring and making sure that we're evaluating each individual candidate based on their own merits and not having just sort of across the board disqualifiers. We actually went as far as setting up, we have a third-party team from our corporate support center down in Nashville, Tennessee, that manages all of our back-end business processes. That there's a team there that actually monitors that and makes those determinations, making sure they're following good hiring practices that we all can feel good about. And we actually do that separate than the field. We don't want the field doing that. So there's kind of a nice check and balance there of how we do that. In reference to hiring from homeless shelters, we do. And the way I would tell you, though, is that we like to do it in a supported way. So that's where we want to cultivate that relationship with whatever organization it might be in Kalamazoo, because we want there to be sort of the wraparound services where somebody is supported in their employment. And we found that's the best way to making sure that we have continuity within the team while also balancing providing opportunities to people as well.
That's great. Thanks, Blair. A couple other questions here that are still coming in. Jim Ritzma had asked, is there an ability to staff up when there are larger events in the downtown, like the arts fair? I don't know on that one, Blair. I know that, potentially it could mean that, the whole team is working more hours. I don't know that you guys would typically have, standby employees or anything like that, though. Or maybe you do.
Like to keep we do like to take, on even a small program, we like to take one full-time equivalent and try to hire a couple of part-timers to give us a little more flexibility in doing that. But I can also tell you too, like I'm here in downtown Louisville and this is Derby week. Ambassadors all know that it's all hands on deck for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday here. This is part of what we sign up for. So yeah, we have to be able to, within as best as possible with our team, meet the challenges that events bring.
Thanks, Blair. John Liberty had asked, will ambassadors play a role in monitoring parking? So they will not be doing parking enforcement. We have honestly not really covered that at all. I do think that, if ambassadors see something egregious, someone, a vehicle parked in the middle of Michigan Avenue, they might call Central City Parking or something, but they are not designed to be doing parking enforcement or really, those are separate. They will certainly be in contact and have a relationship between the teams though. So I'm not seeing any more questions. I don't want to keep anyone over time. I'm glad that almost everyone seems to have stuck on to the end. So unless there are other questions, let me scan here one last time in the box. Does not look like it. So I'll just say that we really appreciate everyone's time and support. Please be on the lookout for some additional communications with details around launch. We'll send everyone the info sheet or packet and come down sometime in late May and meet these folks. So let me check one last time. I think that is it. Oh wait, I do see one here. Yolanda had asked, what type of training will the candidates receive, such as diversity, customer service, et cetera? Blair, can you speak to that for a minute?
Yeah, and I think that's one of the cool things that when we make this thing turnkey for KDP is, our customers don't want to reinvent the wheel on training. And so really our catalog of training is spanning like 20 years of every topic that we think is really important that, ambassadors need to know that. So we try to have topics that are very specific, that aren't security driven, they're not janitorial driven, they're for downtown ambassadors. And so one of the things, I'll give you just a couple of examples that I'm really proud of. One is our 5 steps to a great public engagement. It's breaking down everything from the opening greeting all the way to driving feedback, that if somebody's having a great experience, how do we get that into the right hands? How do we ask people for feedback? But, the middle part of that is how do you give great directions? And everybody thinks that, anybody can give directions. We've all had bad directions. Like they're not helpful. We want to be able to give good directions. The other one that I'm really proud of is, unfortunately, the street population across the country has gotten more aggressive over the past year, particularly with COVID. And so we've had to really up our game related to training for engaging the street population and making sure our ambassadors stay safe as they interact with members of the street population. So we've done sort of an extended kind of part 2 to that training that I think has been very effective and hopefully gives the ambassadors some peace of mind that, we're watching out for their well-being and making sure that their best interests are in mind. So those are just a couple of examples, but we even train on crossing the street because we probably do that 10 to 20,000 times a day as a company. So all very specific trainings.
Great. Thanks, Blair. I'm going to do a slow going once. I don't see any other.
Looks like 2 more in the question and answer.
Am I not seeing them? Open. There, that's how you do it. How can your operations team collaborate? How can our operations, this is Craig Davies, who's at the Radisson. How can our operations team collaborate with your team? What is the best way to share information on anything happening around the area with regards to public safety? Craig, we will get the program manager tied right in with your ops team and security team and kind of anyone else that would be relevant. So, open channel communication. The program and its staff are, they'll be around, they'll get to know kind of those key contacts. I mean, obviously your organization has a big footprint within the downtown. So an intro very soon, I guess is how I would say, they'll start collaborating. And then I think as specific opportunities emerge, we'll work on those. So, so what is the group's relationship with police? So there is not any official relationship with police. We have talked with Kalamazoo Department of Public Safety about the ambassador program to let them know that this will be on the ground. There certainly will be a familiarity between them. I want to be crystal clear. This is not a security force. This is not these staff do not intervene. They are not armed. They are there to make sure that we have a positive environment within our downtown. So I hope that answers the question. You know, they will have access to public safety and a relationship with them, but that is not what this organization is. I think, you know, it's important. I know, Blair, you guys do a lot of training on, you know, kind of the when to engage with police / public safety and when not. You know, I think we don't want to have a team that is calling them for every little thing and every perceived nuisance. That is not the not consistent with our values or as an organization, or I would say the community's values. So Jarrett had asked, will there be a block by block Facebook group set up for Kalamazoo? And I'm not familiar if that's something block by block does in other communities, Blair?
So we have a block by block ambassador Facebook group that is for the entire company. And really, you know, when you think about the ambassadors, you may have 5 in Kalamazoo, you may have 15 in Grand Rapids, but we want them to feel like they're plugged into a larger body of work. So there's one big ambassador Facebook group. And I think that we have a couple of smaller groups. Some of our cities, like maybe Austin, Texas, 1 or 2 others have created their own ambassador Facebook groups just to show off their local work that the local constituents are plugged into. We've made sure that everybody's very well versed in social media protocol. But you know, those have all been overwhelmingly positive so far. So I think that's to be determined. I think we want to do whatever happens has to be coordinated with Andrew and his team. So we'll figure that out. That's sort of like kind of next level stuff as the program comes out of the gate and starts getting some momentum and we start evolving and figuring out sort of that, what's that next level of cool. I'm sure that'll probably be on the docket somewhere.
Cool. Allison, are you seeing anything else that is open we've not answered?
Does not look like anything else has come in the last few minutes here.
Okay. So I'm actually giving that going once now. So again, thank you all. There's still almost everyone has stayed on. I see some thanks coming into the chat from the participants. You know, again, you're welcome and thank you. Please feel free to reach out to our team anytime with questions or ideas on projects. You know, your set of eyes is really important to us. You know, it's not as though Blair and his team don't have a good set of eyes on what to do, but you know, we're going to be doing this with kind of this cleaning blitz for the first few weeks. So if there's things like nagging little things that have bothered you that no one has addressed, please tell us. We'll get them on that list, and we're excited to have downtown really pop by the time summer hits. So not seeing any more, I'm gonna call it, and I want to thank you all for your support, taking the time to be advocates for us, and look forward to seeing you all soon. Stay healthy.
Bye.